Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Very excited about today's video. We're going to be doing a very easy fall makeup look using some of the things that I recently picked up in my Shop My Stash. I've got a lot of great new and old products to play with today. We're going to be dipping into the Sweet Talk palette by ColourPop, busting out the Charlotte Tilbury today. I also have a great combination of products I've been using on my face or my base that I really am loving, so we're going to be doing that today as well. But I hope that you guys are excited about this one. I want to give a special welcome to those of you that are new to my channel. I know a lot of you guys are new here from Samantha's channel. Welcome. I'm so happy to have you guys here. I hope that you will consider subscribing if you haven't yet done that. We've got a lot of makeup to put on today though, so let's jump right into it. Okay, so I hope my lighting is okay. It's really rainy outside today, so I don't have really any natural light coming in my window, which usually helps me out a little bit, but we're just gonna go with it. So I want to start off with this thing right here. I mentioned this in my Shop My Stash. This is the Well It Is Skin Food. Katie Jane Hughes uses this, which is the only reason that I bought it, because who doesn't love Katie Jane Hughes? But this stuff is really rich. It's really quite greasy actually, and the first time I used it, I put it kind of all over my face and it was a complete grease ball, even my very dry skin. So I can't use it in the way that Katie uses it, but what I've found is I do like to take just the smallest amount of this, and I'm talking, let me just show you guys how much. That much. And I just tap it between two fingers, and I like to apply it right where I would apply like a cream highlighter. So I do have dry skin, and I do notice that of all the places that if my skin is looking dry, the first place it's going to look dry is kind of right here on my upper cheek area. I'm not saying you guys should run out and buy this, it will change your life, but because I bought it, I've been trying to figure out a way to use that, and I do find that that's the way that it tends to work for me. So for foundation, this is the base that I have been in love with. I know I talk a lot about the Flower Beauty foundation, but I've been experimenting a little bit with different foundation combinations. With the Flower Beauty foundation, I found one that I really love. So I've been using the Light Illusion foundation. I just use one pump of Nude L3, and then I mix it with the Maybelline Super Stay, and I have this one in the shade 128 Warm Nude. This one I just take about a half a pump, but I just kind of tap that together on the back of my hand, and then I just kind of start to distribute it. So this is the foundation combination that I used for every one of the looks I did in the So Jaded palette video, and I really loved how my skin looked in that video. And I've been using it a lot in real life too. It looks great on camera, but it also looks great in real life. So I just took what was left on the back of my hand, put it on my brush. This is just the Luxie Round Top blender brush, and I'm just gonna start buffing that into my skin. Oh, I was gonna use a primer. Totally forgot I wanted to use the No Pore primer today. Well, whoops. I'm kind of like rushing to get through this makeup look because Charlie is upstairs. She's with my husband, but my husband is sort of working too, or supposed to be working, so he can't watch her for very long, so I need to get this video filmed really quickly. And she is potty training right now, which I talked about on my Instagram stories, and I've got to tell you guys, it has been a crazy week for potty training. She's had a little bit more of a rough time than I remember my boys having. I mean, my youngest boy is now 9, so it's been a while since I've done potty training, and I think it's one of those things, it's like childbirth. I think you just kind of forget how difficult it really is. So I think my hopes were maybe a little bit too high when we started. So I do want to take just a little bit of the Milk Makeup Bronzer and just apply that just on my cheekbones. Not too much, because I'm going to be applying a different bronzer product as well, but we're just going to take that on this. This is the Moda Metallics. This comes from their Mythical set. I love this for cream bronzer. But I'm not tugging on that, I'm just tapping it into my skin. So for concealer, I'm going to grab the Flower Beauty Light Illusion Concealer. This one is in the color L34. I've been kind of testing this concealer out over the last month, and I really do like it. But again, I'm kind of sad that Flower Beauty is getting a little bit trickier to find. I think a lot of people have been talking about that lately. I mentioned something in a video several weeks ago about that, about how it's been really hard to find the Flower Beauty foundation, or even Flower Beauty products in general. They seem to be slowly sort of trickling away from a lot of drugstores. So I think a lot of people are wondering what's going on with Flower Beauty. I heard one person mention in my comments that they might just become like an online retailer, like kind of do their own thing where they just sell their own makeup online and don't necessarily sell through a retailer like Walmart or like Ulta. One of you mentioned that their contract with Walmart is up, which is probably why Walmarts are kind of starting to clear them out. It does make me sad to see them leaving the drugstore, because I just love the convenience of being able to buy something at the drugstore. One thing I've also been really loving lately is this right here. This is the Smashbox Cali Contour palette. I mentioned in my Shop My Stash video that this palette I've had for a while. I think I've had this for almost a year now. I feel like I hadn't fallen in love with it as much as I thought that I would because so many people love this palette. And part of that is just because I don't think I've used it consistently enough. So I pulled it into my Shop My Stash several weeks ago, and I did use it for all of the looks that I did in the Kathleen Lights video, and I've been using it pretty consistently even before then and ever since then. And I've got to say, you guys, I'm really starting to get what the hype is behind this palette. It just looks so good on the skin. It's so quick and easy to apply. It just blends out so easily. It's just really user friendly, I think. So I'm going to dip into this powder shade right here, and we're going to use that to kind of set just a little bit on my cheek area. And again, I'm not using a whole lot. And then I'm going to take just a tiny bit more and just go down the center of my forehead and right on the sides of my nose and the sides of my mouth where my smile lines are. And I'm going to take this brush. This is from Aesthetica. This I think came in BoxyCharm last year. This is just a powder brush. But I'm going to dip into these two shades right here, which are the two matte shades in the palette. So I want to say one thing. I think this was my initial criticism with this palette is these bronzers are very dusty, so they give a lot of kickback to them. I don't mind eyeshadows doing that, but I really don't like when my face products do that. Just for some reason, I don't particularly like when my face products are really loose and powdery. But as I've used this more, I've found that it's just so easy to blend, quick to put on. So if I can get over the fact that it has a little bit of powder in the pan, it's going to be a little messy. I'm going to have to blow some of that product away and waste it. It is actually a really good product though. So hopefully you guys can see just how, I mean, it just blends like perfectly. It's a perfect tone and color. But I like to start with those two shades, and then I like to take a tiny bit of this. This is just a warmer, more satin kind of bronzer, and I'll apply that just a little bit higher, right above where I put kind of those contour shades. And then I'll go with what's left on my brush and just kind of warm up the forehead. And then I'm going to take the blush in here, and this is just a Real Techniques blush brush. The blush brush I use pretty much always. This is one of those blush colors. It reminds me of Max Melba. It's like if you could only have one blush color for the rest of your life that would go with absolutely any makeup look, any eye look, any season, this is the type of color. It's that perfect kind of dusty nude pink with the tiniest bit of kind of warmth or peach in it. This is the type of color that you just don't have to think about. It will always, always look good. Then for the highlighter, I'm just taking my Luxie highlighting brush, and we're just going to dip into this highlighter right here. And I really like to kind of work this in. I do like the Smashbox highlighting formula, but it's one that I think you have to really buff into the skin. Otherwise it looks like it's kind of just sitting on top of your skin. But if you take the time to do it, that's really pretty. Hopefully you guys can kind of see that showing up. So I'm taking this is the Marc Jacobs eyeshadow primer, and just applying that on my eyelids. So I'm just taking that shade in the Smashbox palette, the powder shade, and just setting that down. And I also did already do my eyebrows. I just used the ColourPop Brow Boss pencil and this little e.l.f. clear wax brow stick, which I never know the name of, so I'm going to give it my own name, Super Mega Wax Brow. Let's call it that. So I totally forgot to use the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless filter. I usually like to use this after I've applied my foundation and concealer. I'll tap it on top of like where I would put a cream highlight, and then let it kind of set down a little bit, and if I want a little bit more intense of a highlight, I'll add a traditional highlight on top of it. Since we already put a highlight down, I hope this doesn't screw anything up, but we're just going to tap this on top anyways. Honestly, this product, it's expensive. I mean, I kind of hate to rave about it because it is so expensive. I don't even know that I necessarily think this is worth the money, but it feels expensive and performs like an expensive product. So in that way, I don't think that you're just paying for the name. Like, this is a really well done product. It's really refined. I know a lot of people compared it to the Milani Soft Focus Glow, and I have both of those products. I've used them both. I think they have a similar appearance on the skin, but the texture of this product is just extra smooth and creamy. I still don't know that I think that makes it worth a massive price difference. I think you can get a very similar effect using products from the drugstore, like the Spotlight Primer from Physicians Formula, which is a little bit more intense, or the Soft Focus Glow from Milani. But I will say this is a gorgeous product, and I do like using it on special occasions. I mean, look at that. That just performed really beautifully on top of all those powders, which I don't know that a lot of cream products could do that. Okay, so let's jump into the eyes. So I mentioned in that Shop My Stash video that I just recently picked this up. I know this has been around for a while. This is more of like a spring release, and I look at this palette and I definitely think spring, But I want to try and create a fall look out of this palette, basically by just kind of focusing on the burgundy and kind of this brown and this sort of gold shade here. Maybe a little bit of these lighter shades, just kind of for transition or inner corner shades. Let's start off with this kind of light peach right here. This is the color Work It. I'm going to take that on my Morphe M504 brush and just start working that right kind of above my crease. I like to kind of go onto my brow bone. Could also use one of the pinks in here for this, but I want this to be a little more brown toned than pink toned because that burgundy deep color has quite a bit of pink in it. I feel like adding the peaches and browns will make this a little bit more fall colored than spring colored. Not to say you can't wear pink in the fall. You certainly can wear pink anytime you want to wear pink, but I crave fall tones like this. Rich browns and reds and yellows and golds in the fall and greens. They're just the type of colors that I feel like I crave, you know, kind of like a food craving. I have makeup cravings too. Anyone else? So I'm going to take that same color and we're going to take that on this Real Techniques, just a little buffer brush, and we're going to just kind of run that underneath the lower lash line. Now I'm going to dip into this shade right here. This is color West Side. It's just kind of the medium brown in here. And I'm going to take that on the Morphe M507. It's just a very small kind of blending brush. We're going to kind of put that right on, like right where my crease is, and on this outer third of the eye. We're just really kind of blurring that right there. And I like to keep things pretty round. I know a lot of people like to take their shape a little more angular, but because I have such an angular brow, and I don't know, I feel like when I try that, I just think it makes my features look a little bit more harsh, which is just me. That's just my features or how I like to do my makeup. I just like it to be a little bit more kind of soft and round. I'm also going to just take what's left on the brush and we're going to kind of just run that slightly down onto the lower lash line. Not too far, just about a third of the way in. So while we're kind of blending this, one more thing I wanted to kind of mention or talk about is Instagram. So any of you that have just started following me, if you did hop over to follow me on Instagram, you'll probably, if you dig deeply, you'll probably realize that I am probably the world's worst Instagrammer. I just struggle to be, I struggle to be consistent on Instagram. I feel like I don't know who I am on Instagram. And what I mean by that is I feel like, you know, I have a makeup channel. I love makeup, but when I get over to Instagram, I don't know how to be myself on Instagram yet, and I don't know what to post, because no one really wants to see me posting or talking about potty training, which is what I most recently posted on Instagram, because that's my real life. Like, that's the majority of what occupies my time in my real life. So a part of me feels like, well, nobody wants to really hear that or see that, or I don't know how to do that and make it look glamorous, and then if I do make it look glamorous, I feel like I'm being a fraud. It's a tricky balancing act on Instagram, I think, because you want to be authentic, you want to be yourself, but the way Instagram is set up is to highlight things. I mean, because you're only showing a glimpse of your life and you're selectively showing that and also showcasing it in a way that looks really attractive. And I'm not criticizing anyone by saying that. I just think that's just how Instagram is kind of created, how it's set up. So it's one of those things that, like, in my personal life, I take a lot of breaks. I don't spend a lot of time on Instagram because I feel like I always end up coming away just feeling kind of crappy about myself. Anyways, that's just kind of my ramblings on my struggle with Instagram. Hopefully some of you guys can relate to that. I think Instagram can be one of those things that a lot of us have a love-hate relationship with at times, because it can suck up a lot of wasted time. We can often come away not feeling very fulfilled and uplifted, and I don't feel that way when I watch YouTube videos. I usually come away from watching, at least the people I like to watch, feeling positive and inspired and excited to maybe play with makeup or creative. Now I just want to dip into this corner color right here. This is the color Feel Free. I'm taking that on just that same brush, and we're just going to take the tiniest amount on the tip, and I'm going to apply that right at the corner of my upper lash line. This is definitely a color I think that you could probably replicate in your collection. So if you guys have any insight in what kind of things do you guys like to see on Instagram, or what kind of content do you guys enjoy on Instagram? I feel like I ask that question a lot, or a lot of other people ask that question a lot when it comes to YouTube. Like, what type of videos do you like to watch? But I'm curious to know what you guys like to see or view on Instagram. And if you tell me potty training information, I've got you covered. So next for my lid, I think I want to dip into this. This is the Kathleen Lights pigment. This one's in the color The Maiden. It's the white color. This is a really fun color because it has a lot of different reflex in it. It's got some gold, it's got pink, it's kind of got some blue and green in there too. So I'm just taking a little bit of setting spray. This is just the L'Oreal setting spray on the back of my hand. I'm going to tap my finger into the setting spray. Then I'm going to dip into the pigment, which I have in the lid. And then I take that on the back of my hand and kind of like mush it together and get it a little bit wet. And then I just like to take it on my finger and just tap that on the lid. Mostly on the inner third, and then kind of what's left will just kind of blend and pull over to like across that halfway point. Oh my gosh, that's so pretty. And I'm not too worried about that getting on my, well, that got a little deep, but I kind of also want that to be my inner corner highlight. So I'm just going to go back into this brush and just kind of feather at the edge there in case that shimmer, I don't want that shimmer to come over into this really dark corner, so we're just going to kind of feather that to get rid of any shimmer that is where it doesn't belong. So now I just want to line my upper waterline. I'm going to add a little bit of liner just here to my outer corner, just kind of like a smudgy bit of a wing there. Then I'm going to put on a couple of coats of the ColourPop BFF mascara, and I will be right back. Alright guys, so there are the finished eyes. Very happy with this eye look today. I love how these shades performed. I mean, I honestly think if you have a handful of ColourPop palettes, you probably have very similar shades to this. In other palettes, I don't necessarily think that you need to run out and buy this particular palette. I do think it's beautiful. I definitely recommend it so far. But let's move on to the lips. So lip combination that I've really been loving are, first off, the Milani Color Statement lip liners. These have been around forever and they are so awesome if you have not tried these. But we're going to use this one today. This is the color 04 All Natural. And then I'm going to be using the Rimmel Kate lipstick. This is in the color 45. I don't know if they still have these around. I found them a little bit tricky to find online, but I have seen them in, I think, my Walmart and my Walgreens. So if they still have those lipsticks there, I definitely recommend them. They are absolutely beautiful. And once I line my lips, I always like to take a clean pinky finger and just kind of lightly run it over where I drew that line, almost to kind of like blend it or smudge it in so it's not like very pronounced or very harsh. And then I'm going to take the Rimmel Kate lipstick in 45. I think I'm going to top that with a little bit of gloss. I'm just going to take this. This is the Dominique Cosmetics gloss. This is in the color Peach Tea. This came in BoxyCharm several months back. It's a really, really beautiful gloss. Alright, so that is pretty much it. Last thing, I'm going to just add a little bit of setting spray. I'm just going to take a little bit of the Prime and Fine Dewy Glow Setting Mist or Setting Fixing Spray from Catrice. Alright you guys, this is the finished makeup look. I hope that you guys enjoyed this one. I love how this look turned out. This is a very basic look. Kind of a look we've all seen 1,000 times before, but I just love these warm, deep brown tones in the crease for fall. They are perfect for fall. If you really wanted to take this kind of next level fall, you could pair it with a brown lip, which I think would be really fun. But me and my nude lipsticks were very boring. But I hope that you guys enjoyed it either way. If you have any specific thoughts on any of these products, be sure to let us know down in the comments below if they work for you, if they didn't, if you love them, if you don't. Again, welcome to all of you that are new here. I hope that you are enjoying my channel. I hope that you'll stick around, consider subscribing, and that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for stopping by, for watching today's video. Hope that you guys have a great day. I hope you have a great weekend, and I will see all of you guys in my next video. Bye. Guys, welcome back. No, I'm still too bright. Let's turn it down a little. It's raining. Man, tell you guys, I had one day last week when I was filming those 7 looks videos where the sun was coming in the window that's right in front of me, like shining on my little plant back there. I felt like an angel. It was glorious lighting, and I really want to get that back, but I can't control the sun. Stop clapping. Count. How many times do you guys hear this noise when I do a video? It's at least 12. But I've been, Mandy, literally a booger on my nose. I am so glad that I caught that.